Africa is restless again. From the streets of Dar es Salaam to the alleys of Yaoundé, the people have spoken in one voice. Hatutaki tena. We will no longer be silenced. In Tanzania and Cameroon, beneath calm speeches as citizens reject what they call elections without choice. And in Cameroon, the echoes of rebellion rise against Paul Biya, a man who has ruled longer than many have lived. And now across the border in Kenya, those tremors are being felt inside the corridors of power. President William Ruto, watching from Nairobi, he sees the wave forming, a storm that may decide his own fate come 2027. For when neighbors begin to reject power that refuses to listen, that question becomes not if, but when that storm will reach your own gates. This is the sort of how the rejection of elections in Tanzania and Cameroon has sent shockwaves through State House in Nairobi, shaking the confidence of a president who knows that time and the people may soon turn against him. Welcome to the Red Mic, where the truth whispers louder than propaganda and every secret has a history. Tanzania. The year was 2025 and the air over Dodoma and Dar es Salaam was thick with unease. Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu Hassan, once hailed as a reformer after the death of John Pombe Magufuli in March 2021, she has faced her greatest test yet. The people, wary of broken promises and silenced dice, and began to speak with their feet. In October 2025, as the nation prepared for local elections, opposition parties led by Freeman Mbowe of Chadema and Zito Kabwe of ACT Wazalendo cried foul. They claimed the system had already chosen its winners. Ballot boxes, they said, were no longer vessels of people's power, but weapons of control. In Dar es Salaam, police patrols grew heavier. In Arusha, young men chanted, "Hatutaki chaguo la serikali. We reject the government's choice." Across the continent in Yaoundé, Paul Biya, the man who has ruled Cameroon since 1982, prepared for yet another staged election. By February 2025, Biya's long shadow hung over a restless nation. His opponents, many exile or jail, call it the election of the ghosts. In Douala, protesters clashed with the soldiers as chants of Biya engage. Biya must go fill the streets. Videos of soldiers firing tear gas at unarmed youth went viral, drawing condemnation from the African Union and international observers. Two countries, Tanzania and Cameroon, different histories, but one cry: enough.
President William Ruto now claims that he has no worthy competitor for the presidency in the 2027 contest and that he will defeat the united opposition candidate with ease.
And as this cry echoes through East and Central Africa, it is crossing borders, reaching Nairobi, where the name William Ruto is whispered through the political wind. For Kenya too is entering its own season of discontent. With the prices rising, protests swelling, and young voices growing louder, the question inside State House is becoming impossible to ignore. If Tanzania and Cameroon could reject power, will Kenya be the next?
Morangwa, Norangwa. Yani mtu ningeshingana na yeye ni Raila Odinga. Lakini sasa hawa nitawamalizia asubuhi na mapema. Early in the morning.
In Nairobi, In the halls of power at William Ruto's presidency, the tremors from Africa's coast, from Dar es Salaam to Yaoundé, are now felt in the corridors of State House. There is talk, faint yet persistent, of a shift in time itself. A proposal surfaced in September 2024 from Senator Samson Cherargei of Nandi in the Constitution of Kenya Amendment Bill 2024. This amendment sought to increase or to raise the term of the president and other elective leaders from 5 to 7 years. The public outcry was immediate. In October 2024, newspapers spoke of uproar over plot for 7-year term for president and members of parliament. Though in September 2025, the Senate fully clarified that the bill before it did not extend presidential terms.
We are on the side of the Kenyan people. We will never betray the Kenyan people. We are old enough to know temporary comfort will take you nowhere.
We have chosen deliberately and with clear minds where we stand from today.
While the constitutional whispers circulated, economic fault lines cracked open. In November 2025, Ruto sought parliamentary approval of a grand plan of Kenya shillings 4.5 trillion to transform Kenya into a first world nation via roads, railways, airports, energy, irrigation. At the same time, Kenya faces external debt repayment over $4.5 billion due in 2026. The streets responded. Youth, the rising voice of Gen Z, began to chant Ruto must go, staging protests in June 2024 after the new withdrawn Finance Bill 2024, which would have raised taxes. The state's reaction was ruthless. Security forces fired, dozens died, the parliament building was stormed. Then came the death of Raila Amolo Odinga on 15 October 2025 in Kochi, India. He was aged 80 years. The veteran opposition leader, once loyal partner, and now gone, his passing left a political void. Analysts say Ruto has lost an important stabilizing force. For William Ruto, this combination, a constitutional rumbling, economic strain, youth revolt, and Odinga's death, is not just a background noise. This is a warning. As the continent's electorate rises in Tanzania and Cameroon, in Kenya one man sits in the eye of the storm, peering ahead to 2027 and wondering who will be left to cast the ballot. Something powerful is stirring across Africa, not in the palaces of power but in the minds of the people. For the first time in modern history, the African electorate is awake. They are young, digital, informed, and unafraid. In Burkina Faso, the people set Roch Marc Kabore in January 2022, tired of insecurity and corruption. The army claimed it acted for the people. In Niger, President Mohamed Bazoum fell in July 2023. Soldiers seized the palace in Niamey as thousands of citizens cheered them in the streets. Mali in 2021, Guinea in the same year, Gabon in 2023, one by one. Regimes that had overstayed their welcome crumbled like ancient walls before the wind of discontent. But not all uprisings came from the guns. In Senegal, the youth protests in 2024 forced the government of Macky Sall to cancel plans to postpone elections. The people reclaimed their calendar of democracy. In Sudan, citizens defied bullets and tear gas for years, demanding a civilian rule. In Congo Kinshasa, in Zimbabwe, and even in Egypt, Murmurs of resistance grow louder by the day. These are not mere protests. They are signs of a generational shift. Smartphones have replaced spears, and social media has become the new battlefield. Platforms like X, TikTok, and Facebook Live now carry truth faster than state-controlled news, and those in power know it. In Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who has ruled since 1986, now faces a restless youth led by artists like Bob Wine. Real name is Robert Kyagulanyi, whose songs became anthems of resistance. Museveni's government blocks internet, arrests opponents, and jail journalists. Yet the message spreads: enough is enough. Analysts warn that Museveni's regime, like others before, it is sitting on borrowed time, a ticking clock masked by the calm of fear. And beyond Africa, similar awakening unfold. In Sri Lanka, citizens stormed the presidential palace in 2022. In Haiti, protests toppled governments. Even France and Chile have felt the fire of street democracy. The world is changing. In the heart of Nairobi, behind the iron gates of State House, silence has become a strategy. The man who once preached bottom-up prosperity, he now governs from the top of a mountain of anxiety. William Samoei Ruto, a political survivor forged in the chaos of Kenya's coalitions, he knows the scent of rebellion. Since 2022, he has watched his slogans fade into the smoke of rising fuel prices, joblessness, and debt.
Yaani mtu ningeshingana na yeye ni Raila Odinga. Lakini sasa hawa nitawamalizia asubuhi na mapema.
His eyes are fixed on 2027, yet his ears echo with the chants of June 2024. This is when the Gen Z protesters turned Nairobi's avenues into rivers of rage. They carried smartphones, not stones, and in the glow of their screens, power was humbled. Inside the cabinet, fear speaks in low tones. Advisors whisper of rebranding the regime, of claiming the markets, of silencing dissent through new digital security laws. Each week, a new scandal blends from the treasury, from housing levies to tender cartels linked to billion-shilling road projects. When Parliament questioned the mysterious 4.5 trillion shilling, a 30-year mega plan announced in November 2025, some members of Parliament asked aloud, is this vision or desperation? The old generation trembles. Museveni, the veteran of Kampala, watches uneasily as songs of freedom echo louder than his degrees. In Harare, whispers question how long another dynasty can hold. And across the borders, a generation armed not with guns but with Wi-Fi and memory prepares to rewrite the story of power. For Kenya, the question is no longer who will win the 2027 election, but whether those elections will still mean what they once did. Because when nations awaken, the ballots can become weapons of truth, and presidents, no matter how mighty, become servants once more. So the cameras will turn again to Harambee Avenue, to the man behind the gates of State House, and to the millions beyond those walls, the farmers, the border riders, the students, the dreamers, who now understand that democracy is not a promise from above, but a demand from below. This is the Red Mic.